What's your name?
My name is Evan Tuccarello,
Age?
and I'm 19 years old.
Okay, and what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated from Jeanette Senior High School in 2015.
Okay. Okay, did you attend college? If not, what are you doing now?
I didn't attend college, actually. I originally had planned to, but then I later decided to start a business that I call Moss Deep Entertainment. It is an LLC in the greater Pittsburgh area, and that's what I do currently.
How did you go about starting business?
Well, it kind of first started when I was still in high school. I first did the senior project, sort of what Jayla's doing now. And I decided to do a show at the Keynote Cafe in Jeanette as my senior project. And after the night had ended, I was asked by the venue owner, Jill Sorrells, if I would be interested in doing this again. And shortly after doing this, it caught a lot of traction and it began to spiral. And from that point on, I decided I would like to give something different than college, which I wasn't completely sold on, a chance before I was all ready to go and before I already put the money up front.
So, why did you pick this route and why?
I picked this route for a couple reasons. I think one of the biggest factors going into it was I feel like I'm young. I am young, but I feel like that at this age, it's difficult for people my age to just make a final decision with college. Going to college and getting a degree is a major thing, and when you get a degree, that degree should help you get a job or career opportunities for the rest of your life. You can always go back to college, you can always get another degree, so on and so forth, but it's a pretty big decision that will affect the rest of your life going into it. And I think it's hard for someone my age to make that going on right out of high school. And I decided that when I was graduating, that while I was still young and while there were a lot of opportunities that still presented me, that I would try and take some of those and give as much effort into something else that I would into college for the next 4 years and see where it takes me.
Okay, and what excites you the most about daily life and running your business?
I think what excites me the most is just kind of how unpredictable it can be. Just as a little background, I work as a concert promoter and a talent buyer. And the talent buyer part basically is I buy tour packages and music artists from around the world and book them in the greater Pittsburgh area. With that being said, you meet a lot of people from around the country, sometimes around the world, and you never really know what's going to come next. You can wake up one morning and it'll be an email in your inbox from someone you never thought, and that's happened to me. That's happened to me quite a few times, and it's always overwhelming and it's always exciting when something new like that happens.
What's your favorite part about owning a business?
I would say my favorite part about owning a business is not that there isn't your own rules, because there's obviously a set of guidelines that you have to do to be successful, but I think one of my favorite parts about owning my own business is whatever I feel was my best judgment or is the best decision I can possibly make, I'm allowed to take it. There isn't anything in my way saying I can't or nothing that won't let me do that.
Are you gonna seek any extra schooling for your business?
Obviously I didn't go to college, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't plan to attend college. I think one of the biggest issues today is there's a lot of kids out there who go to college just for the degree, just for the piece of paper, you know what I mean? And we forget that college is meant for learning. And I think one of the most important things in that is one of the things that motivates me to go back and get some extra schooling is there's stuff I want to learn. And now that I started this business and there's a lot of things that I do, there are some things that I feel I wish I knew how to do better or I wish I was better at. With that being said, I would like to take some college classes in the future, as soon as I have enough time. In the future, when they will benefit me the most. That doesn't necessarily mean I'll go and get a degree in business or business management or anything like that, but getting a degree, maybe just taking some classes based on what I could use some extra schooling or something I need to learn or would like to learn more about.
Okay, and do you do anything else besides outside of your business, and is it your only income?
Yeah, I actually do. Currently, I'm also the assistant manager at Pizza Hut. That's funny, but at the same time, the business is a lot of work. It is my full-time job, and it is priority number one. But going from a kid who just started, just graduated high school and started his own business, there's definitely like stepping stones. There's definitely a ladder in front of me that I have to climb. And starting a business doesn't mean wealth immediately. I do, make money through my business and I do profit, but, not enough where I can financially sustain myself without anything else. So I do work at Pizza Hut. Right now I'm at the point where I would like to cut down Pizza Hut a little bit more, put more into the business, but Pizza Hut was a nice temporary fix of income to help me sort of make ends meet financially.
Did you ever plan on going to college?
Yeah, I did actually. I was accepted into St. Vincent to attend as a freshman in 2016. I was going for a biology major and was planning on getting a teaching certificate. Still something that's, of interest of me, but, I decided against it to pursue this instead.
Did anything particular change your decision, to change your mind about college?
Yeah, I would say there was a couple factors. One of the biggest things is just, I hate to use it, but almost like the YOLO phrase, you know what I mean? Like the fact that we are young, and that the people watching this obviously are, I assume, between the ages of 16 and 20. The world is truly what you make it, and you can do anything you want in life if you put the effort into it. Things don't just happen overnight, and they don't just happen at random. You have to put the work into it. But if you do, and you wake up every morning and give something as much effort as you can possibly give it, you will see results. And I firmly believe that, and I think that was the biggest factor that made me decide to do something else instead of college, because I felt confident enough that I could achieve success without college.
How hard was it to start your own business?
That's interesting because in the figurative sense of starting a business, it was difficult, but in the literal of, just me saying like, hey, I own a business, or like me actually like owning an LLC, that process was fairly easy. I mean, it's 2016, the internet is a thing. I was able to become an LLC in 20 minutes online. It cost money, and I did what I needed to do, but that part's fairly easy, and you don't need to go to college for 4 years to learn that. But the process of actually starting a business that was successful and that sort of had a type of like demand for it and had people's interests was difficult. Definitely something you have to make all the right moves for, and it's not something that can be done overnight.
What would you change about your business?
There's a lot of things I plan on changing about my business for 2017. I am starting at the point now where there's a lot of big names in the music industry and in the concert industry that's floating around right now with me. Um, and kind of setting myself as a professional figurehead is really important, and making sure everything about you looks professional. Making sure someone can find your contact info, find your website, find your social media, anything like that, and immediately look at you and look at your info and see it as a professional source. I think that's one of the most important parts, and even though I feel like I'm definitely there already, there's always stuff I want to do more just to better represent myself and better represent what I do. Besides that, I would just like to dive more into it and work more hands-on. There's some times where I feel like too conflicted with other things in my life, or things aren't always listed in like, this is what I need to do for the day. And I plan on just kind of creating a more tighter organization to make sure I'm achieving the things that I need to do.
Are there a lot of opportunities for your line of work around your area?
Yeah, I would say so actually. There's plenty of bands and artists, musicians around the area, always looking for something more. I got my start with local artists. As far as concert promoters go, really anybody can like get up and say they're gonna do it. I think I saw a lot of success where I started using the Kino Cafe in Jeanette, as opposed to if I just started booking in Pittsburgh like I do now. There were a lot of kids in Jeanette who didn't like. There isn't really too much to do in the evenings. Jeanette doesn't have a lot of functions. After football season is over and the basketball games are over, there isn't always too much outside of extracurricular activities. It was nice to start doing this in Jeanette with the keynote because I was able to give people something to do, I guess you could say. Once they took a chance on one event and they liked it, it was just kind of something they look forward to after that.
If you had a second chance, would you choose this again?
Yeah, I most definitely think I would. There's a lot of things I would do differently that I know now that I didn't know when I started. There's a lot of things I would have changed, but I'm pretty happy with where I am so far. Life isn't easy, that's 100% for sure, but I don't think I would ever go back and do things differently.
How's your daily schedule?
Busy. It's busy. I drive a lot. I talk to people a lot. It's normally like from the point I wake up to the point where I have to do something else. If I'm off a whole day and I'm not working at Pizza Hut, it's normally a full day thing. There isn't really ever a chance where my phone doesn't have 100 notifications on it, unfortunately. Well, I don't know if that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's just busy. Definitely organization, I think, is one of the biggest keys to it. If you write down a list of things you need to do for each day, maybe set up a calendar and say like, oh, tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going to do all these things, and set those as your goals, you'll meet your expectations a lot quicker, I believe.
Now, how was the transition after high school?
It's hard, actually. It's scary. It's pretty scary. It's terrifying, to be honest. As soon as you graduate, maybe a lot of college kids don't see this. You kind of get thrown out on your own. You know what I mean? I still live with my mom, so it's not like I'm on my own completely. But you start getting a lot of different expenses. You start doing things your own way. Once you start the process of kind of like separating yourself and starting your own life, it's just like expense after expense. Nothing is free, nothing is cheap. It's difficult to kind of take that all in at once, especially if you grow up and a lot of those things are taken care of for you already. Especially when it comes to not waking up and having a schedule written down for you like you would in high school. Um, it's a lot more difficult to stay motivated, stay focused. You got to make sure you have a common goal in mind, and make sure you're doing something each day to hit that goal.
Now you work with a lot of different people. How are they?
That all depends. There's a lot of people who have came into my life through this that are incredible people, phenomenal people who do great things. Some of them work with me on a daily basis. I've met a lot of bands that have become my close friends, and from around the country that I can depend on for a lot of things. There's a lot of people out there though who are either entitled or have a mindset that they're better than other people. There's a lot of people who are pushy and feel like they can take advantage of you very quickly, especially if you're new like I was. And that will happen. That's something to be aware of. It's really a hit or miss. One of the only things I can really teach is not everyone out there is your friend, no matter how sure you may be of that. There's definitely a fine line between friends and acquaintances, and know who you're doing business with, and know that everyone you do business with is doing it for themselves and not for you, whether they're your friend or not. That way you don't end up expecting something in return or getting hurt out of a non-favorable deal or something of that route.
Okay, and finally, is there any last words, last pieces of advice that you want to pass on?
Really, my biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid to try something. We all grow up and we all have passions and we all have goals. We all have stuff that we love to do. If you wake up every morning and there's something that you love more than anything, that you just can't live without it, my biggest suggestion is see what you can do with that. If you really love photography, see what you can do as a photographer. Look into what markets are doing what, reach out to people. If you really love music, or if you're an artist, try and pursue something in that. It doesn't always have to be a college degree. You can get a college degree in it if you would like. Really, it's just life is what you make it. If you want your life to be what you want it to be, if you want all your dreams growing up as a kid to come true, then you have to wake up and do it. You can't do what your parents tell you to do, or you can't do what society tells you to do, or you can't do what your teachers are telling you to do. You can only do what makes you happy. And what makes you happy is what's going to matter the most for the rest of your life. Whether you're poor, rich, somewhere in between, just find something that you love to do and give it your 100%, and the rest will come with it. That's really all I have to say about that.
Well, thank